Welcome back to New Jersey Power and Politics. I'm Laura Jones.
And I'm Jim McQueeny.
Ed Postonak is a science teacher and small business owner. The Democrat is running for Congress in the 7th District against Republican Leonard Lance. Good to have you here.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
And one of the things you say, you're running for your future, not for
a political career.
And that's kind of a shot at Leonard Lance, even though he's a Republican, even though he is a freshman, because of his family and his political career.
Yeah, he's a third-generation politician, spent nearly a quarter century in politics. And my background as a science teacher, someone who started my own business, grew up in a family business, is in stark contrast.
You know, Politicker NJ, the political website, called Leonard Lance a Mayflower Republican. How would you describe yourself as what kind of Democrat?
I think I'm an independent Democrat, you know, someone who has faced many challenges in their life. You know, I put myself through college, 2 degrees at Rutgers to become a scientist and then to become a teacher. And I understand what it's like to struggle, how when you face obstacles, you have to work hard to overcome them. And then building on that to bring my real-world experience to Washington as an Einstein Fellow to improve policies for all of our children in school and make sure we have a sound future here in New Jersey and in America, so we can be the most innovative nation and state.
We get a chance, Laura, to ask someone who's an Einstein Fellow here a question.
First we had a rocket scientist, and now an Einstein Fellow. I feel like I need to do a little bit more homework tonight.
Well, as an Einstein Fellow, when you look at what the biggest problem is in New Jersey as a whole and the district, and why Leonard Lance should be denied another term, what is it?
Jobs. We have so many people that are out of work, as Congressman Holt said earlier, are afraid they're going to be out of work, are not contributing completely to their jobs because they're not sure if they should leave or they can actually find another job. And then a new generation of our students that are about to graduate from college that are suffering because they can't find work in their field so they can grow and contribute. And Congressman Lance, he's done nothing to create a job. He's been there and standing in the way of so many things that we need to get our economy back in track so we can get people back to work and contributing.
One of the things that upsets people is people who voted for Obama say he's not done enough to fix the economy, to turn things around. He's talked the talk, but not necessarily walked the walk. So there is a big groundswell, if you will, that Jim's been alluding to, that they think that Republicans can make significant gains. But you're looking at a district where there's a Republican incumbent, and typically a freshman incumbent. Those are the most vulnerable, yet, you know, you're on the Democratic side where there's a lot of criticism coming at the Democrats. So what's your strategy there in trying to overcome the stigma that, you know what, the people in power are Democrats and I'm upset with how things are going, I don't have a job, I'm just voting the other side?
I think we need to look at the cause of the problem, and that is we have career politicians who are so focused on keeping their own job, and they're not looking out to make sure we create jobs or save jobs right here in our own community. They're looking for their next re-election to make sure that they can save their job, scoring political points ahead of the interests of our families and communities, our small businesses that are struggling in these tough times, and making sure that they're representative and someone is fighting for them. And Congressman Lance hasn't been there.
Well, let's talk about here. President Obama is scheduled to come to New Jersey for a fundraiser shortly, and I asked this of Rush Holt as well. How eager are you to be in the photograph with President Obama right now, given his popularity issues?
I think the president has faced a number of challenges. 2 wars where we're spending billions of dollars, one just ending, but we still have a huge troop involvement there, and then another one that we should end as quick as possible. In addition, the worst recession since the Great Depression. Many things to balance in the environment that he's faced, and he's risen to those challenges, taken on tough issues. He's reached across the aisle on numerous occasions, and the other party hasn't really been there to provide the solutions.
So you'll be in the picture with him?
Happy to be in a picture with them and happy to discuss ways we can get things moving and talk about where we have differences. An example is on cap and trade, a piece of legislation that passed too much of the burden for our energy problem onto our families without making the kinds of investments in research and development to get us off our addiction to foreign oil and fossil fuels.
You have a very successful career as a small business owner, an Einstein Fellow. Why are you running for Congress? Why do you want the hassle? I mean, it's a big job for little gratitude.
Yeah, I'm very concerned that we're losing our edge here in America. And I believe I have the tools to help get it back. And that means we can ensure that our next generation of entrepreneurs and leaders and innovators in our classrooms are prepared to lead our economy. In addition, that we make investments to continue to grow New Jersey's businesses. We have a home here in the 7th District to some of the most innovative companies, and we need to support them so they can grow and be strong. And
Speaking of homes for a second here, one of the criticisms that has been leveled by Republicans against you, in a milder version, I guess, they call you a carpetbagger here because you're only recently to the district and barely recently at that.
Well, I'm born and raised here in New Jersey, and I taught at Bridgewater Raritan Regional School, which is in the center of the district. What they're trying to do is distract from the fact that since being in Congress, Congressman Lance has really not delivered on the solutions that we need to get people back to work. Just yesterday, well, I guess it was Wednesday, this week, we faced the 2nd anniversary of Lehman Brothers collapse. And he had an opportunity in that situation to stand up and put in some of the strongest reforms for the finance industry. And he said no. Almost $300,000 comes from those special interests that fund his campaigns. 60% of his contributions from big banks, Wall Street, and the insurance industry. And when push comes to shove, he's representing their needs, their concerns over the needs of our families and businesses living right here on Main Street and struggling today.
When you're out and about on the campaign trail, the fact that you have no political experience, do the voters seem to take to that, or do they want somebody who can go to Washington, who knows a little bit of the ropes, who can bring back the bacon for New Jersey, because New Jersey doesn't get its fair share back from Washington?
Oh, so many things I could talk about in that question. When I meet with voters, they're extremely energized by the fact that I am not a politician, that I'm someone who has struggled, understands the challenges that we're facing right now, and is willing to fight for them and advocate so that they have a representative who is looking out for their best interests, not in scoring these political points, not in making sure they just win re-election, that actually is willing to take a stand for them. And as it relates to making sure that we bring back what we pay in our taxes here to New Jersey, Congressman Lance, he sat out of the spending process this year completely. He didn't make one cut, a recommendation to save taxpayers' money. He didn't make one recommendation on investments that we should make across this nation or right here in our own congressional district. He basically sat home, stayed home from work that day. We deserve someone who's willing to stand up and fight, someone who really is looking out for the interest of our community. And well, I'll make sure I do that. Make sure we can get our edge back here.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you.
Straight ahead, Jim and I are going to wrap up the show.
So stay with us. New Jersey Power and Politics continues right after this.